What's up, guys? I hope you're having a great Sunday afternoon, evening. Last week we kicked off a new series and we talked about knowing God is an adventure. Too many times we can think of it as like a formula of a checklist to do this, this, and this, instead of just a relationship with the Creator of the universe. And what we said last week was spending time with God was so important, and I challenge you guys this week to maybe try something new. Maybe if you really have never listened to music, to sit down and listen to a whole album, or maybe take a walk through nature. I mean, just try something to connect with God. So here's what I want to do right off the bat. I want you to take just a couple minutes and go around the room and just talk about one way you connected with God this week. So I hope you had an awesome week connecting with God. In the next few weeks, we're going to talk more about the ways that we can grow in our relationship with God. And spending time with God is an important first step, but that's not the only step that we need to take. So if we want to make this journey of knowing and following Jesus, we need to think about the people that we're journeying with, because other people impact our faith. And I said, like, you can choose to journey with people. And maybe you might disagree with that. And you might think to yourself, I didn't choose my family. I didn't choose the people I go to school with or the neighborhood that I live in. I don't even have one friend I can count on, let alone several I could choose from. If I had the choice, I would choose differently, and the list goes on. And you're right, at your age, there's only so much that you can control about your life and relationships. And I understand why you might feel powerless to control or choose the people in your life. And I know you can't make perfect friends appear out of thin air. I know you can't snap your fingers and make your family perfect and everything great. I know you can't get new classmates, neighbors, or teammates, but there's something you can do. You can choose to invest in a few great relationships. The kind of relationships that will help you move forward in your journey of knowing God. So there's a couple options here. Let me give you an example. My dad is a pastor. And growing up, I was blessed to have a dad who set an example of what it looked like to spend time with Jesus. I would come down the stairs to get breakfast, and he would be reading his Bible or praying. He would at night pray with me and share something that he had learned that day, or something that maybe he thought like I needed to know. And maybe for you, it's not your dad. Maybe it's your uncle, your cousin, your best friend, someone, your small group leader, someone in your life that's pushing you closer to God because they have a relationship with God themselves. And in some ways, this relationship for me was kind of not by my choice. He's my dad. That's what I was born into. But I was blessed to have that. And so, but as I grew older, it became a choice. I had the choice to say, I'm going to value and listen to my dad, or I'm just going to ignore what he says. Now, don't get me wrong. I ignored a lot of what he says, and looking back, I was an idiot. But in the moment, I had the option, hey, I'm gonna actually listen to my dad because he cares about me and what's best for me, and I'm going to choose to do what he tells me and allow him to help me. Some of you just need to allow your parents to help you in your relationship with Jesus, or allow that small group leader to come into your life a little bit. And so let me challenge you to do that. And there's also significant relationships in my life where the person that pushed me to grow in my relationship necessarily wasn't someone who was following Jesus. Let me give you an example. A guy named Elijah from my college. He was an atheist. And I met him during one of my religious studies class. And we would have conversations. He grew up Jewish, parents forced religion down his throat, and so he said, you know what, forget this, I don't want anything to do with it. But it was cool because he pushed me to understand or try to figure out why I believe what I believe. Because for me growing up, and this might sound like you, the reasons I believed was because my dad said so, or my mom said so. I really hadn't figured that out for myself, and if you pause and take a moment, like, why do you believe that you're a Christian? Why do you believe that God is real? All these questions. And I look at Elijah, And he helped me because he helped me realize I got to have answers. Like, I need to know this for myself. I can't just say, well, my dad says or my mom says. I wanted to know that. So he helped me push being closer to God. And maybe you were expecting me to talk about a relationship that helped them. I still believe, I'm not in contact with him anymore, and I don't think he's still a believer. But the relationship helped me, and I think I did challenge him, but he never accepted Jesus. But I grew closer to God because of that relationship. And what I would tell you is I've also grown closer to God because of my relationship with people who knew God and who don't know God. So I think it could be a both and. So now the question is, who do you spend time with? How do we make sense of these two almost polar opposites, pastor, atheists, both pushing me to understand who God was? How do we surround ourselves with people who are righteous, but at the same time spend time around people who aren't? And how can both of those help us grow closer to God? So what I want to do is jump into this small group time. And before we get there, just a couple more things I want you to start thinking, though. Why is it important to surround yourself with people who follow Jesus? Just start thinking through that. And then why is it important to have relationships with people who don't follow Jesus? How can relationships with people who don't know Jesus help me? But what are the dangers of those relationships as well? And then how do you balance the relationship with people who know Jesus and who don't know Jesus? See, every relationship that you have in your life, family, friends, teachers, all of those, coaches, they will affect and impact your faith in some way. So the question you need to answer is, can this relationship help me grow closer to God? Or will it not? See, our relationship with other believers should help us get closer to God. The people in this room, your small group leaders. But the question is, are they? Are you utilizing that? And our relationships with people who don't believe in Jesus, they can help us get closer to God. But again, are they? So if you want to make it on this adventure with Jesus, this relationship with Jesus, you're going to need to surround yourself with people who can help you grow closer to Him. Now, you can't control every single relationship that comes your way, but you can choose to pull back from the ones that are leading you away, and you can choose to invest in more with the ones that are pulling you close. Because remember this, your relationships are a choice. It's not an accident. So as you go into small group time tonight, I want you to take a look at a few passages of Scripture and talk through what it's saying, what it looked like for Jesus in His life, and I hope you have some really good discussion tonight. The Scriptures will be on the screen. Hope you have a great night. Also, United is a month out. Make sure you sign up for that. Summer camp registration is still open. Make sure you sign up if you haven't already, and I hope you have a great night and a great week. We'll see you next week.